everyone, I'm Georgia and this is The Sound of Georgia. It should come as no surprise that when you're telling a story that is based on real people and their real life experiences, that there are some creative liberties that are going to be taken. And so we're going to be looking at some of those that were taken with The Sound of Music, or more specifically, one single creative liberty that was taken with The Sound of Music. I'm sure you all know the big ones that Rodgers and Hammerstein and Fox changed. They weren't in love, or at least she wasn't in love with him. They didn't go over the mountains. There are actually 10 children, not just 7. Well, okay, that last one actually has a bit of a wrinkle to it. Sound of Music compresses the timeline a lot. So instead of them together over the course of a summer. And by the end, by the time that final event rolled around, that being the escape, there were 10 children. There were only 7 at the beginning. So it's a bit of a wrinkle, but you'll see it a lot on things you didn't know about Sound of Music lists. So I'm sure you've heard about all of those before, and if you haven't, now you have. But we're going to be talking about a different one, and that is the names, because they actually changed the names of quite a few characters. So before I go into what the names were changed to, I think I'll just go through the characters that didn't have their names changed, the characters that were left untouched. So we've got Maria, we have Georg, and that's pretty much it. All the names of the children were changed. So Rupert was changed to Friedrich, or did he become Liesel? I remember reading somewhere that apparently his siblings used to tease him about that. Then there was the oldest girl, Agatha, who became Liesel, or Friedrich. Rupert was the oldest in real life, and obviously Rodgers and Hammerstein changed it so the oldest was a girl. So you decide who became who. Personally, I'm of the Rupert became Friedrich and Agatha became Liesel opinion. From here on, the genders of the kids are exactly the same as was in real life. So the second oldest daughter is obviously Louisa, but in real life her name was Maria, which is probably why they had to change them all in the first place. 2 Marias would have been confusing, and you can't really change one of them and leave the rest untouched. Then there was Werner, who became Kurt, Hedwig became Brigitte, Joanna became Marta, and Martina became Gretel. Moving on from the children, let's talk about Max. Closest thing to Max in real life was Father Franz Wasner. He was the priest that came to their house after they started taking in boarders and created a chapel because they needed money after the bank had folded. That's probably a story for another video. But anyway, he became their teacher, conductor, agent sort of person. So Max is not really the same as him at all. He didn't just get a name change, he got a full character overhaul. I don't even know whether Father Franz Wasner was interested in music and singing groups the way Max is at all, or whether it was purely a Von Trapp thing. Then there was Princess Yvonne, who was the inspiration for Elsa, and they were very much the same. Right down to the confronting Maria about how the captain loves her moment. Though as far as Elsa goes, that's only in the film. I discussed that a few weeks back. But yeah, no, she was the one he was going to marry, and eventually he realised he couldn't because he loved Maria. The butler was very similar. I'm pretty sure he gave them a heads up that they needed to get out of the country. But he was still a Nazi. And his name was Hans, not Franz. The closest thing Frau Schmidt had to a real life counterpart was Baroness Matilda. She pretty much oversaw the house. She's absolutely detestable in the anime. The nuns really didn't have the same significance in real life as they do in the movie or the play, at least as far as what you read in Maria's memoirs. At the very beginning of the book she mentions her mistress of novices, Frau Raffaella, a couple of times, but that's not even close to what we see of Sister Bertha, who I guess would be her real life analogue, or as close as you get to it. So as far as the nuns go, the names were changed, I guess, but they also had much more significant roles in the show and the film than at least what you can read in the book. Obviously the Reverend Mother's name didn't change, but that's not actually her name, is it? Rolf didn't exist. At all. Agatha never married. And from what I remember from reading her memoir, there was nothing like that. They did actually make a movie based on her memoir, and I do want to talk about that one day. and she has a love interest in that, but he's about 1% less fictional than Rolf. Like in her memoir, he's a childhood friend that she meets up with many years later. So if you want to get really, really technical, I guess he would be the closest thing you get to Rolf, but I don't even think that counts. As far as I'm concerned, Rolf didn't exist. And that's everything I've got for you today, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I know I didn't go into too much detail of the personalities of these people and characters, but mostly I just wanted to tell you all the names that were changed. So let me know in the comments how you feel about the name changes, both as the creative liberty that was taken and just the names themselves. Are there any names you liked more in real life than what was changed for the musical? Subscribe and I'll see you in my video next week. So long, farewell!